If your score is low and you're struggling to get approved for loans, credit cards, or even a mortgage, this video is for you. A bad credit score can hold you back in life. High interest rates, rejections on applications can make it difficult for you to get a job, but there's good news. You can fix it, and today I'm going to show you exactly how, step by step. By the end of this video, you will have a clear roadmap to take control of your credit, boost your scores, and open the doors for financial freedom. So let's get started. Before we can even get started on the credit repair process, you gotta know what's on your credit reports. And one of the things that I've found with my experience with helping thousands of people repair their credit and increase their scores is that a lot of people had this subconscious resistance of getting all of the information about the mountain that they're going to have to climb up to start to repair their credit. Like they avoid it because they don't want to see how bad it is. They don't want to see the different accounts that they've messed up on. So it's like a resistance factor. But you got to know, just like with anything in life, if you don't know what you got to go through, if you don't know the hurdles that are going to be in front of you, you're not going to be able to do it. And the thing about it with credit is that really the number one hurdle is to just get your credit reports and review everything so you know where you stand. If you know where you stand, you can start building a foundation from right there. As you fix it, it's just like you got a foundation that got some cracks in it. You're going to start filling in those cracks. So to get your credit reports and scores, go to the website, your3scores.com. Link is on the bottom of this in the description, or you can see it right here on the video. Your3scores.com. Grab your TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian credit reports, the full scores. You want everything. You want all of the information about the furnishers. You want all of the information about the creditors. You want all of the addresses from all of those furnishers and creditors and collectors. It's going to be very important to help you repair your credit. So here's a little tip that a lot of people don't know, that this is something that the free credit credit report companies don't want you to know, don't tell you, and it also hurts you from being able to repair your credit. For a company, a collection agency, or an original creditor, for them to be able to have the privilege to put information on your credit reports, there's I don't want to say it, lack of a better word, like an investigator that goes and does a spot check of that business to make sure that it's a legitimate business. Because they want to make sure that if you're saying that you're doing loans and you're putting stuff on people's credit reports, they want to make sure that you are a lending institution. If you're a collection agency and you're putting stuff on people's credit reports, they want to make sure that you're a legitimate collection agency. Those free report places and those types of places, all they try to do is sell you stuff. They don't give you all of the information that you're going to need. And those addresses are going to be very important, because if an address is not valid, if it comes back in the mail not correct, and that company has that address on your credit reports, that company is in violation, because they either changed their address without notifying the credit bureaus, or that address was not valid from the beginning. They were just utilizing that address for the period of time to get approved to put information on your credit report. The next thing that you want to do is, when you're looking at those reports, get out a piece of paper, and I want you to write down any of your accounts that are hurting you. Accounts that have late payments attached to them. Accounts that have charge-offs attached to them. Accounts that are in collections. And you want to see if that account that was in collection, what does it state on the original creditor's account? What type of information did they put? Because in essence, you're being hit 2 times for the same account. Next thing is, do you have any bankruptcies on there? Or do you have any other inaccuracies that you can see from just looking at it? It could be addresses, it could be personal information, it could be your name, it could be employment, it could be balances owed. It could be an account that is closed that should be open, or it could be an account that is open that should be closed. You need to scan through. Take your time. Slow down. Go through that. When we do a review with our clients who sign up, we go through that line by line, because a lot of times people don't even understand the importance on that. When you get these details down, it allows you to be able to move to the next step, which is to start to repair your credit. Now, when I was doing some of my research for this video, this is crazy. I found out that on individuals' credit reports, 1 in 5 Americans that are of adult age have some sort of information on their credit reports that is 100% inaccurate. So you have to be asking yourself, why is that information able to be on there? Who put that information on there? Why did they put it on there that way? And the bad part about it is that that is affecting the credit scores of those individuals. That's why I say it's very important to make sure you know what's on your credit report. So when you write your dispute letters, you need to be clear and concise. Clear and concise about what you want them to do. Don't try to be all over the board with all of these laws and put this in there and that in there. What you want to do is you want to be clear and concise. You want to put your name, your address, last 4 of your social security number, and then you need to put the reference number or the account number as it's shown on your credit reports. That's going to be very important, because that's going to link up with what you're trying to dispute. And then you need to have a clear explanation of what is going on with that account. Clearly write it out. Don't be fancy. Don't try to be legal. Don't do anything like that. Just say, this is what I see. This is why it's wrong. This is what I want you to do about it. That's what you got to do. And if you have any supporting documents that can back that up, like we've got with a client right now that we were just talking about, has a medical bill that is actually paid, and it's showing on their credit reports. So what you would do is you would have that paid medical bill, that, you know, that document, and you would attach that to your dispute. So any supporting documents, you want to put that together. Now, you want to make sure that you send that to Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian, or when you're looking at your reports, if it's not on all 3, only send that to the one that it shows on. Now, some people say, should you send it certified mail or should you send it regular mail? I would say that you send it regular mail. We've seen where certified mail has came back. So if you send it certified mail, it could potentially come back. They have a staff. They have their own processes. When they get it, you don't want to write anything on the envelope, nothing. You just want to have your name, and you want to have the bureau's name on there. Don't put anything on the outside of the envelope. And their job, what they're supposed to do, which sometimes can take some time for them to do it, is that they're supposed to open that up, and they usually have it in a pile where a human is going to read it or the computer is going to read it. More than likely, the way things are going right now, a computer AI is going to read it. That's why it's very important to say what it is, what account, who you are, identifying information. Oh yeah, you got to put a copy of your ID in a piece of mail that is addressed from you. Put what is the explanation of what you see that is inaccurate and what you want them to do about it. So you got step 1, 2, and 3. Now, the dispute process can take 30 to 45 days. By the laws of the Fair Credit Reporting Act, it's supposed to be 30 days that they're supposed to respond back to you. But being in the business and seeing how stuff works, it could take upwards of 45 days, and they will be given that leeway. Number one, there's going to be some leeway just for the mail going out. And if you have a paid credit monitoring service, which is the one that I recommended to you earlier, you will be able to see the results. Even if they're mailing results back to you, you will get an alert to see those results. Now, let's get into paying off collections right away. Should you pay off those collections? Should you not pay off those collections right away? That is a personal decision based off of your immediate goals that you might have. So let's kind of break that down. If you are looking at buying a house, that comes from, we have people with all, I don't even know why I say, let me come up with an example. We have an example of someone right now who called me, client in Florida, went to go get a mortgage, and it automatically denied him from getting a mortgage. And I was like, well, what are you doing on your credit? And I mean, why didn't you tell us you were going to try to go get a house? I was like, why didn't you do? He was like, I don't know. I was, my credit was in a good position, but I just got that one item on there. On that one item, it had that it was in dispute. And I said, hey, you can't have anything in dispute if you're looking at, getting approved for anything. You can't have anything in dispute. It's going to automatically trigger a denial of your application. And so the decision is really based on a few things. Number one, are you trying to do something immediately? So, like, I've had people say, well, Steve, should I pay off these collections? Maybe the collections were like, $5,000 and they could settle them for $1,000 or $2,000. And they would ask me, well, should I save the money and not pay them, or should I pay them? And I was like, well, with your goal of what you're trying to do, you're trying to go and apply for that house in the near future. If it's any time within 3 to 6 months, that if it's within 3 months that you're going to go try to get go and apply for that home, then you need to go through the settlement process. You don't want to have any disputes on your credit reports. Now, if you got 6 months to a year, yeah, then you can go through the process of doing the validation and everything and see if you can get those removed by them not proving that you have to pay the debt. But if you're trying to move forward on something now, then the decision that you would need to consider is going ahead and doing the settlement. And even when you do a settlement, you can still do a debt validation process in there. That's actually the strategy to get them to come to go lower with the debt, is you're putting a lot of pressure on them to prove it, but you don't want to dispute it because a month or two later you don't want to get denied simply because you had a dispute on there. So, but let's just go after, if you got collections, the things that you need to pay attention to do is you need to dispute that collection, and you need to do that on your credit reports, and you need to do that directly to the furnisher. And I'm going to give you a link on a place where, if you don't know how to create that letter, because if you create that dispute, that furnisher debt validation letter the right way, you can make a lot of your debts go away. You can make a lot of it go away. So I'm going to put a link below where you can go and take a look at something that I've built to help you be able to get that accomplished. So you do the debt validation to them, and they're going to send you documentation. You review the documentation. If you believe that you should go ahead and work out something with them, you work it out. If not, if they don't send you all the appropriate documentation, if they don't prove everything to a standard that you believe is proven in your own mind on you being able to make the right decision that's based on what your goals are to move forward, then you can hold off and you can go back and forth with them. And during that process, if they go by the way that the law is written, once you put that into dispute, when you do that debt validation, it's going to put it into a dispute with them. But if you do it with the bureaus, it's going to put it in a dispute with the bureaus. But if you do it directly with them, they are supposed to put that on there. But what you want to make sure, if your goal is to go and try to get approved for something right away, you just want to do the debt validation directly with them to say, hey, get me the documentation. That you're not doing one to talk about it affecting you on your credit, because then they could put that on your credit saying that you are disputing it. They could try to do that. So you want to be careful. You want to be very careful. But if you're disputing them and you're not trying to move forward anytime soon on something, then when you dispute with them, you would put a line in there about your credit, and they are supposed to put that. Soon as you put that dispute in, they're supposed to put that dispute on your credit, and then within 5 days, they're supposed to give you the information. If they don't give you the information within 5 days, and you got to give some mailing dates, then they're supposed to remove that off of your credit reports. So that would be the process. Now, let's just say that they purchase your debt and then you have a charged off account from the debt that they purchased. Remember earlier I said that you're getting penalized 2 times. What you would do in that instance is you would write to the original creditor. You're going to dispute directly to them and say that you are reporting the information on my credit report inaccurately, and it is holding me back with my credit score and holding me back from being able to move forward. They're going to say, how are we holding you back? You didn't even pay us our money, because you accepted payment on that account from that debt collection company. If you were to pay them, they would just say paid for less. That's what they would say. It doesn't matter who pays them. They accepted payment for less. So keep that in mind. It does not matter who paid the original creditor for the charged off account. When they sold that account, they accepted payment for less. So now let's talk about the next thing that you need to have top of mind when repairing your credit and fixing your scores, is that you need to look at your credit utilization. One of the things that a lot of people that are in our credit repair program get frustrated about is their credit score. So they know that we're working on their credit, but then they're like, my scores aren't going up. Even when they have deletions of negative information off their credit reports, they're thinking that their scores should just like jump way up. And then when we do a review of their accounts, we find out that their credit utilization is not where it needs to be. And I talk about this in my The Real Credit Secrets book. Your credit utilization can hurt you, and it's in my opinion, this was something that they put together just to offer lenders more ability to higher their interest rates based on risk. So what they're basically in essence saying is that, okay, you're using, more than 30%. 30% is the baseline. So if you're using 30%, if you're showing 30% on your statement date, it's going to hurt your score. Even if you pay off your stuff all the time, you will see that if you let it go past the statement date, which is when they start to process for the next bill, your scores are going to be fluctuating. You're like, I'm paying all of this stuff off. Why is it doing that? That's because the algorithm is written as a risk factor. If you're utilizing more than 30% of the available credit that you have, like on your credit cards and stuff like that, those type of accounts, you're going to get penalized based on the algorithm. And you could be doing everything right, no late payments, no nothing, and they will hurt your credit scores. The other thing that you need to do is you need to concentrate on lowering your debt. I know that could be difficult, especially if you're struggling right now, but all of this has to work together for you to be successful. You need to lower that debt. You need to start looking at your budgeting for your household, how you can, bring in more revenue. Whatever you got to do, you got to start thinking that way. And when you start thinking that way, opportunities will start coming your way, and you start paying those debts down, even if it's just over, a period of time. If you just get started on it, you will see that it will happen for you. And then one strategy that you can use, but I want to make sure you don't abuse it, is you can ask for higher limits on your credit cards so you can have your score go up if you're looking at getting something and you want to have a higher score so you can qualify for a lower rate. But don't go out there and eat up the rest of that balance on there. Another thing that can help you build your scores while you're going through the process, which is a benefit that I did not have available when I was cleaning up my credit, and I'll admit that I did not concentrate on building my scores. It wasn't as important as it became later, but some of the best ways that you can utilize, the best tools that are available out there, or you can use rent reporting, you can use utility bill reporting, apps like some of the apps like the what is that, Netflix and those type of apps that you pay reoccurring monthly. There are services that are available out there that will let you show that you do have a payment track record, and they will utilize that information to help, number one, give you some payment history, because you should be getting credit, especially for your rent and stuff like that. You can have that stuff put on there. Those companies don't usually pay the expense to put that on your credit reports. So there's tools that have become available that will allow you to be able to do it. Another thing that you can do is you can get a secured card and you pay that on time. That's a way that a tool that you can utilize to start rebuilding your credit. Another thing that you can get, become an authorized user with someone who has good credit, with a good credit card that doesn't abuse it, keeps the utilization below 30%. It is legal to do that, and you can do that. And I've seen that help a lot of people be able to kind of get a jump start with their credit. And, maybe with your other type of credit building services that are available with your local bank. Some online lending institutions have easier loans, but be careful with that. You know me, I don't want you to do anything that can get you in trouble. I'd rather have you just grind it out and get to that score if it's going to do something that's going to, affect your budgeting, because we don't want to do that. And then just continue to pay all of your bills on time. That's going to help you be able to do it. Some people say, well, they put their stuff on auto pay. Some of the people that I've had to work with credit problems, this is what happened, is that sometimes when you get on automatic, which there's nothing wrong with that, when there's something that goes wrong financially and then stuff gets missed, the person isn't notified the same way as if they would be notified if they were to go in there and pay their payments with all of their creditors every month or however they got to do it, and they would see, oh, I messed around and missed the payment, or they didn't credit my payment, because you're more engaged, more active about your about your finances. So now here's a hack that a lot of people have talked about. You've probably even seen it on TV with the Experian Boost. Can it really work? I'm not getting any payment or anything from this. I've had people report to me if their credit is in a certain, at a certain level. They've gotten the negative stuff taken care of. They've lowered their debt. They've done all of those things that were necessary. And then they went and got that Experian Boost with their cell phone, utility bills, apps and stuff like that. Depending on how much stuff they threw in there has been some reports of people having a 100-point boost. Also, another hack, which I talked about a little bit earlier with the trade line. If you've gotten your credit cleaned up where you don't have any negatives, I've seen people where they didn't have any open accounts. They just got all of the negatives resolved, clean report, credit scores in the 500s. I've seen people get into the 700s when they had either one good trade line or two combined with two trade lines, got into the 700s, within 3 to 6 months got their own credit card and so that become a primary unsecured trade line, and they were just off and running. So I have seen that work. So those are two hacks that you could use to get your credit score up 100 points or more. So we just about covered everything from getting your reports, disputing the errors on your credit reports, paying collections a smart way, or not paying them and doing this debt validation process, you're lowering your utilization on your credit cards, building positive history, some hacks that are available to you. So now, if you need help with your credit, please visit us at thecreditrepairshop.com. Watch the video, what makes us different, so you can see my 8-point validation process, my 2-phase settlement process. If you need your credit reports and scores, go to the website your3scores.com to grab your TransUnion, Equifax, Experian credit reports and all 3 scores. If you have debt collectors coming after you early in the game, I now have 2 options for you. You could either grab my 3-pack of letters, statute of limitations, debt validation, cease and desist, collection activities letter, or you can go to the application, summonsmaster.com, put your debt collector letter right in there, and it will create an exclusive certified debt validation letter that you can send straight to any debt collector who is sending you letters in the mail demanding payment on a debt that they've purchased. Thank you for your time. Subscribe to the channel. Post your questions and comments. This is Stephen A. Williams, President and Founder of thecreditrepairshop.com.